Hi, everybody. Let's see here. I think we're at 1 o'clock, ready to start. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Mike, can you hear me all right? Sorry, just doing some testing. Perfect. Awesome, thank you. Okay, well, welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. Oh. So sorry, I don't know what happened to that. So here's myself. Actually, let's bring back. So welcome to Setting Your Clients Up for Success, part of the Intuit Business Builder series. So there's myself, Tanya Hilts, CPB. I am the founder of Cloud Bookkeeping Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. I'm a newer member of the Intuit Trainer Writer Network, a 2016 Intuit Black Swan, 2017 runner-up for Intuit's Firm of the Future, an advanced certified QBO Pro Advisor with 20-plus years bookkeeping and income tax experience. So just do a quick review of the agenda. So our agenda today will be finding the right client. We want to help you ensure that the clients that you find are a good fit and will actually follow your process and will work within your process and your guidelines, and just help to create a successful business for yourself. Onboarding the client, so how to onboard your client with a process that will ensure success for both yourself and the client. Communication, the continual communication that will promote success with your clients. The organization and tasks, having your tasks in order and demonstrating to your client that they can trust you with their business. And then we'll take some questions. So if there are some questions, feel free to type them in, and if it definitely works with the topic we're discussing at the time, I will try to answer them right away. If not, then we'll just hold them until the end for when we actually have our question time. So what we'll cover, so learn how to set your clients up for success. We'll be covering systems on how to communicate with your clients to ensure that you receive the information that you need to do your job on time, as well as to ensure that your clients understand the technology and will use it. And minimalization is the key, and keep it simple. That's what we believe here, and that's how we have everything set up, and it's been a winning combination for us. So your ideal client. So first off, I'm just going to shoot out here just a verbal question. Go ahead and type this in the chat box. So how many of you out there actually know who your ideal client is? Just yes or no answers would be great. So just give a couple of minutes here to let the answers come in. And while we're waiting for some answers to come in, what you should do, or what I recommend that you do, is visualize your ideal client. See who they are, what are their attributes and their values, and then determine what questions you need to be able to determine whether they are a good fit or fit your definition of an ideal client. So I've got a couple of people that are typing in yes. Actually, just so. Some just starting out, not yet, new to my business. So there's a nice combination of things in here, so that's great. Some do, some don't. And this is something that very well may change over time. It can be very fluid for some people and not with others. So if you don't know who your ideal client is now, don't worry about it. You'll definitely get there. You'll find it, and it's just practice. So again, what we do is we visualize our ideal client here, and we've kind of worked backwards. So we've said, here is what we want them to look like. What do we need to ask to determine if they're that right person or not? So we actually use a detailed questionnaire when quoting new clients to ensure that they fit with our practice culture. And clients that fit will actually be more successful since their values match yours, and they'll likely be able to follow your processes, and it will set them up for success over somebody who does not fit. If you think about the clients that have not been a good fit, I'm sure many of you know who is, at least if you don't know who your ideal client is, you know at least who doesn't fit. You've probably had a client who doesn't fit at least once, and you know it's not a success for them, it's not a success for you, so it's just not successful for anybody with that. So we utilize 17 hats. The SOTO is also very similar to 17 hats, as they can simplify the process of quoting using automatic questionnaires, quotes, and contracts. So we're just going to shoot out a poll question right now as well. And how many of you currently have some type of process to weed out your non-ideal clients? So I'll just take a second for the poll to pop up and just get some answers there. So just collecting the responses, and it's more no's than yeses, but definitely about a third of you definitely have some type of process. I definitely recommend getting one. We're going to talk about that a little bit today as well. Since we come up with the process, it's actually made things a lot smoother. So what we do is we actually use an online questionnaire. And so let me just take a quick peek here. Somebody actually just says it's in process or in progress, looking for insight on this. Well, and I'm hoping to be able to give you that insight on this, Karen. So what we do is we actually use an online questionnaire system. First off, our ideal client must be open to using online tools. So we do give them an option. Every single question that we answer first off, or that we ask them, we're looking for a specific answer and will help us determine whether this is the right client or not. So if we're talking to somebody on the phone, we let them know that we have a questionnaire process, an online questionnaire process. We ask them if we can send it out to them and let them know that we could go through it with them over the phone. It takes about half an hour, or if we send it to them, it takes about 5 minutes to fill it out online. That question right there gives us a great deal of information as to whether we even want to continue with that person, because if their time is valuable and they value our time and they're comfortable with technology, they'll say, yep, go ahead and email it out. If they actually want to go through it with us over the phone, that's our first flag that they might not be our ideal client. So we're specifically designing the questions in every piece of the process to be able to determine, gather more information to help us determine. So I'm just going to go through some of the sample questions that we actually ask in our questionnaire process. So, and these are what, in my opinion, are most important ones. So we've got, for example, one of them, I would ask them on a scale of 1 to 5 to rate the importance of the items that they want their bookkeeping firm to handle. And some of those items would be knowledge, bookkeeping knowledge, accountability, price, data entry, maybe how long with their previous bookkeeper, why did they leave them, what do they want, or sorry, how do they want to value us, what type of services do they want us to fill. And again, every one of those questions will help us to determine whether this person is going to be a right fit. If they have high on price, or sorry, a high on price is very important to them, and high on data entry, those two, I can tell you, I will not go further with them, because data entry is not what is the most important, and the price is not as what is important. So somebody that puts those don't value what it is that we do. Knowledge should be high, accountability should be high. I expect price to probably be, you know, a 3, a mid-range. I would be okay with that. Data entry should be on the low side. So, you know, again, we want to know how long they were with their previous bookkeeper. Are they jumping bookkeepers? Why did they leave? Did they have unrealistic expectations? You know, the last thing you want to do is you know, take over a file that is quite frustrating with that. So, yeah, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to build your questions as well. So some other questions that we ask is, what is the, like, what is the state of their bookkeeping? Is it current? Is it a mess? Are they all caught up on the remittances? You know, information that we need to price them, like what industry are they in? Maybe how many bank accounts? Do they have payroll? Do they have inventory? Are they multi-currency? What type of reporting frequency do they want? So a lot of these, I will still go further with them through a verbal conversation, but I want to know upfront what their expectations are with that. What are their pain points? And I would give them some options. If we keep it simple and give them options, it'll be easier for them to fill out. So are there pain points, accounts receivable? Are there pain points, you know, just their CRA deadlines? You know, what are their pain points? So that way I know what to focus on when I'm building the quote and the package to get back to them. We want to make sure that we're taking care of their pain points. What do they want our role to be and include? What type of volume of work do they have? Now comes the most important questions too. Are they willing to provide financial reports, copies of bank statements, credit cards, etc., so that I can verify the information? I found a lot of people would say they had a certain volume of work, but when it actually came down to it, they didn't. They definitely had a lot more work, but we didn't have some type of verification process. So once we put that into place, that was actually really, really important. And that's what I find when talking to other bookkeepers, that a lot of bookkeepers definitely miss out on. Let me see here. So any other details that you might need to put into your pricing structure? And this is a tip: keep your questions simple and closed-ended. Maybe a few open-ended, but if you keep them open-ended, you're not going to get as much information. They don't really want to type. Give them choices to choose from, but you'll get more precise answers that way. And then you can take a look at that and determine what you want to dig into more with the verbal conversation. Key takeaway for that is to visualize, define your ideal client, and again, to build those questions around it. So let me just see here. I'm just taking a look through some of the questions. Some people, you're typing in the questions, and unfortunately, it's really, really small to read. So maybe if you want to type it into chat, that might be a little bit better. So I'm just trying to take a look through here, see if there's any questions I can answer on this. Is PowerPoint having a problem? Only half of the page. One person says, Catherine has actually typed in a message and it just seemed to pick up 1 or 2 letters per line. So maybe, Catherine, if you want to retype your question, that would be really great. Is anybody else having difficulty seeing the ideal client page? In the bottom right-hand corner, we've got a key takeaway to visualize and define your ideal client that's surrounded by red dots. Can everybody else see that? I'm just wondering if it's just an issue with the one person's computer or... Okay, some people can view it fine. Okay, that's good. We'll continue on, and hopefully it's just an issue with the one person. Okay, so onboarding. One-on-one training is key to your client success and using the technology that we're introducing them to. All of you know, of course, that if you're here, you're using cloud technology likely, and the technology is still very new to the industry. If you want to have your clients' books done, be successful at your job, which allows them to be successful in their job, we need to make sure that they understand and are working it properly. So train the clients on the software that you expect them to use, because they can't be successful if they don't know what they're doing. I feel it's important to also let them know why. To me, it's a huge thing in my personal and business life. I want people to know why, because if they know why we need this information or why this process is in place, it will actually help kind of justify to them, and they'll say, okay, that makes sense. I'll just go ahead and I'll have those, because I want it to be nice and smooth. So some clients, for example, they might, if they don't submit their everything to us monthly, I might have to sit down and have a chat and say, you know what, we actually bookkeep weekly. If you don't have it in on time, then what this means is now we are not being able to meet your deadlines. We're not being able to meet other clients' deadlines if we drop their files to do your files, and we may have to start outsourcing. But if it costs me more money, that actually will reflect the quote for that client. So sometimes explaining to them why, that, you know what, your price was based on this. Part of the price is based on my out-of-pocket costs. If my out-of-pocket costs go up because of this, we need to take that into account and take a look at the pricing. So that's just a really good example why, if a client understands why they don't want to pay more, they'll be happy once they understand that. Oh, that's why I'm getting this price. Great. I'm happy to provide that information now that I understand. So why, we found, is a really big key to setting the clients up for success. So what we use for our onboarding process is we use QBO, of course, HubDoc, and SmartVault for all of our clients. We may use other apps such as Invoice Sherpa, Rotessa, Pluto, Inventory apps, just simply depending on the client's books, their business, and what their pain points were. And of course, their needs and wants, because remember, we're solving their pain points. That's what it really should be about these days. And for our onboarding workflow, quoting contracts, we use 17 Hats because it automates everything. We set everything up with templates, and we automate absolutely everything that we can. Our own internal process, we're actually working QBO work, or what was called practice management, which now has recurring tasks, so that's awesome and exciting. We set up bank feeds in QBO with as many automated rules as we can. Nothing that has a receipt, though. I'm a stickler with that. I want to see every receipt. I want to make sure that HST matches. I want to make sure that when they go and they fill up with gas, they didn't buy a bag of chips or they didn't buy a bottle of water. So I still want to see every receipt, but their monthly insurance payments, bank charges, deposits that come in, automatic deposits from merchant services, all of that we can definitely automate, though. So we set that up with the onboarding process, get the bank feeds up, and have everything start to automate. Again, we automate as much as we can. We use HubDoc to set up for fetching the bills and bank statements. We teach the clients how to submit the apps to Receipt Bank, or sorry, the receipts to Receipt Bank using their phone, using their custom email address, and HubDoc directly. We've got some clients that might not be comfortable using their phone, but they're comfortable definitely uploading or forwarding by email. Doesn't matter to me. HubDoc's got 3 ways of submitting. I could care less which way they use, as long as they get the information appropriately. That's perfectly fine. But if we train them in all 3 ways, then that's good. They've got that. We use SmartVault. It's our own cloud filing system. There's a ShareFile. There's a few other ones like that as well, too. We use that for document backups. We keep email copies, anything that we would want to keep, and we do use that for clients as well. So that way they can access certain folders, we can access certain information. So that's great. Now, I just want to pop in another poll question here. Does anybody here currently make training videos for their clients? Just a yes or no answer will suffice. I just want to take a quick peek and see how many are already doing this. Just give a couple of moments here just for some answers. So some are, the majority aren't. Right now we're sitting, because I don't think you can see the poll answers, right now we're sitting at 14% yes, 86% no. So it's interesting. So this is something that we've started probably within the last 6 months or so. What we actually have, we try to keep it simple. Again, we want to set the client up for success because it sets us up for success. So what we do is we make the training videos. I didn't have time at first to make the training videos, but on my website, I actually have a client access button. It's right in the header. They can access it from anywhere. And on there, they actually can go into a training link, which is a specific link with a specific password. And the password actually is, it's just something simple. It's Train Me, so it's really easy. All clients have it, but it makes them feel like they've got access to private members only. So they really like it. And in there, we've got the training videos. So they're simple, they're short. They might be 1 or 2 minute videos. And while we were building them, we do have some links to some Intuit videos that I was able to pull. And we're slowly replacing them with our own videos for multiple purposes. So again, it might be how to do a deposit, how to add a receipt, or sales receipt, how to do an invoice, how to do a check, the difference between a bill and check or expense. So we've got those types of things in there. Again, short, sweet, very specific, so the clients can go in and access it. They enjoy using it. Again, it helps them do whatever part it is that they're doing on their end of things. We have some clients that are only dealing with the invoices and the sales receipts. We have some clients who like to do a little bit of the inputting as well. They like to input their own checks. So again, it covers anything that the clients would use. Now, again, as I said, we do this for multiple purposes. The reasons why, again, make it easy for the client, help set them up for success, so that way there's less errors for us to clean up. But also, it helps us with our SEOs. It keeps them on our website. It keeps them coming back. So you can actually have your website and your SEO rating very high. We're on the first page of Google. I don't pay for anything. we just use, it's just Wix, it's basic, I don't pay anything extra, but we were able to get that up because we keep the clients coming back. We keep them constantly coming back. So making these training videos will help increase that, and then it's going to help increase your online presence because now we're not getting local referrals anymore. We're getting calls from Toronto. So the majority of our sales that we actually close have come from people that have actually Googled us from Toronto, and we're 3 hours outside of Toronto, but we're now getting the Toronto market because we were able to get our SEOs up. So it's, as I say, it's dual purpose to keep them coming back, keep them constantly coming back, and then so we're constantly adding new videos. We send out an email, oh, don't forget we've added new videos on this. So again, it's that communication, the clients love it, we love it, it's all good. So making the videos, you can actually make them really easy. There's a lot of tools available to make the videos, to do screen recording videos, such as Snagit, Movavi. Those are the two that we use. They're $50 or under. So it's not expensive to be able to do that, but it's something that I definitely highly recommend that you look into if you haven't already. Let me just see. I'm just taking a quick look at the questions again here. The third app that we use, if we're going back to the beginning, there was QBO, HubDoc, and SmartVault. So SmartVault is our online filing system. Kathy, I think if that's what you were asking. And it's just our cloud accounting system. Okay, so I think that's for the questions there. So again, the key takeaway of this is setting up the software for the clients and demoing it. Make sure they understand it. Don't let them try to figure it out themselves. It'll make it easier on them. They'll appreciate it, which will gain you more referrals, more loyalty. So that onboarding and that training is critical to their success, which of course is critical to your success. Automation of communication. So using workflows and automation will allow you to continuously stay in contact with your clients while you're still freeing up your time for other work. So use the technology available to automate your communication. So for example, weekly, monthly emails for clients reminding them to upload their receipts. That way they're not forgetting, they're not falling behind, which is allowing you to stay on top of things with your business and not fall behind on your business. Send a reminder at the end of an HST quarter to remind them to have everything ready for their filing. Reminder for weekly or bi-weekly to submit their payroll numbers. So yes, we may baby our clients a little bit more by sending these types of reminders, but it helps us to stay within our deadlines, which helps them to stay within their deadlines. It makes everybody happy. It makes life so much easier. So just pop in a verbal question here for you now. How many of you feel that you're actually currently running at an optimum automation efficiency? I'll just take a few minutes here, let some answers come in here. I'm not even close. So there's a few, no, not where you want to be. So yeah, there's a lot. And again, we're still at the very beginning of the whole movement to the cloud, and it's overwhelming with all the apps out there, absolutely. There's a lot of people that are still here within and just starting practice and the learning curve. So yeah, there's a lot to learn, most definitely. So we believe here that minimalization is the key. We keep it simple, but we need to be able to have all of these tools. So when we set ourselves up for what I feel is our automation efficiency, we actually saved almost 10 hours a month on our internal and about 3 hours a month on 1 to 3 hours a month on our client setting this up. So we, again, automate everything. We automate the onboarding workflow, including contracts. Again, we use 17 hats. There's Dubsado, there's I know a lot of people are using Dubsado now. There is Practice Ignition. So there's a lot of tools out there. Find which tools that you like, but I definitely recommend getting something like that to automate it. Again, automate everything that you can. So we have automatic email reminder templates that go out to remind our clients to submit their documents via HubDoc weekly and monthly. When to look out for anything they've missed so we can close off the month. So again, it may sound like we're babying them, but we set it up once, add a workflow, it's done. Those emails will go out, so it's taken us no time to do that, but it's enabling us to stay on track, which enables us to keep them on track, which makes them happy, sets their business up for success. Again, HST quarters, at the end of the HST quarter, we have a reminder that's sent out a week before the quarter ends. One is sent out right at the end of the quarter. Our tasks may not be set up to start yet, but those are the reminders that we send out for them, which again is automated. If the client still doesn't have everything by a certain deadline, I think we have 7 days after. If we still haven't received anything from them, we may make a phone call, but we haven't had to make one of those yet, and we've been working with this process for over a year. So it's worked out really, really well. Usually they just forget. And then once everything is filed, we actually have an automatic email to communicate how much they owe, the due date, and that we filed everything with CRA on their behalf. So again, it's a template. We fill in the blanks, hit send. Again, it's already automated. It's there, ready to go. Payroll. Our payroll automation is, again, a simple email that goes out weekly or biweekly, depending on the client's payroll. We remind them at the very beginning of the week. We might send it out Monday that we need their numbers by Wednesday if they're paying on Friday. So it depends on their close date, their payroll close date as to when we send it out. If we send it out on Monday, we ask for it on Tuesday. We know we need it on Wednesday, but clients like to procrastinate. We all know that. So we have that, and again, the emails go out so that they don't forget. So before we used to send these emails, we found that we were constantly calling the client saying, we need this, we're ready to close, and it was just really stressful for everybody, especially the clients that have automation. Or we would get an email from the client Thursday night, at 7 o'clock, and they need to write their checks by first thing Friday morning. That's not okay. It's not okay for us. It takes me away from my family. What if I don't see that email? Our office is closed. So again, we changed the process, automated it, and it works beautifully. We actually use QBO work as well in our payroll process. So what we do is we actually use that for some communication. So for example, the monthly PD 7 days for their monthly remittances, we actually send that out through there. It goes out a little email saying that they've got a document in there for some of the clients that don't use SmartVault. If that works better for them, then we'll do that. So again, we're using the automation to be able to do that. The document is there for them. For those clients that do actively use their SmartVault folder, we'll put it in the folder, and then in our email that goes out, we'll have a link to it, which again links to our website, to our client access page, where they can then just click on the SmartVault folder to log in, because again, this is helping our SEOs. So even our links to HubDoc, to QBO, we try to get clients to go to that client access page to try to link to everywhere. That way, if the links change, we can stay on top of it. And again, it helps our SEO ratings. So dual purpose there. But the types of reminders that we send out, it prompts the clients to get us the information we need to do our jobs without us having to chase the client or drop the ball. I mean, I think all of us, at least at one point, has missed a deadline and had to pay a penalty because we had too much going on and we didn't have proper follow-up process, or we just got overwhelmed, or we just dropped the ball. So if we can keep it simple, take advantage of the automation, we can actually become our client's bookkeeping hero, which again sets them up for a successful business for them. And our clients feel taken care of since we're attentive enough and we're on top of their deadlines, relieving them about having to worry about that and focus and concentrate on their business. So let me just see here. Just taking a look, a lot of questions have come in, so I'll just take a quick peek here to see if there's any I can answer with regards to that. So what program do we use for the automatic emails for the payroll reminders? again, we use 17 Hats for that. 17 Hats does the quoting process, automatic emails. It's our task or workflow process, so it does a lot. Dubsado is something similar that does that. I know a lot of people are starting to like Dubsado. We've just purchased a 10-year license with 17 Hats, which is why we use it. But there's some, definite differences between them, and it's one or the other. And as I said too earlier, I think Practice Ignition does a lot of that too. So it's just a matter of we wanted to find one software that did the most. And I didn't want to have at one point we were signing into 12 and 13 different types of software a day, and that just wasn't very cool. It was just very overwhelming. So we really brought it down, and I said, okay, what can we purchase for our best dollar that will actually do the most? And at the time, that was 17 Hats, which is why that's what we use. I think there's a few other ones that have come out there now, but that's my recommendation. When you're calling around looking, try to find something that does the most for you, because then there's only one piece of software to use. You have everything in one area. So it just makes life a lot easier for that. Okay. So, and again, the key takeaway for this one is just constant communication fosters a closer relationship between yourself and your client. So here's just a sample of our quarterly tax remittance workflow. So our automation phase 1 is an email is sent to the client. Phase 2 is a reminder email. Task number 1, we would verify, so this is when we would step in, that the client has submitted everything. And if they haven't, we may make a phone call to them. Task 3, complete the remittance process. So, of course, we don't file until we've got a verbal okay from the client, some type of verbal okay or by email. But we'll complete that process, maybe make that phone call, let them know, and then follow up with the client, because we know anything I tell them verbally is not necessarily going to stay with them. So we always send them that email, which is, again, a template, and we fill in the blanks, hit send, off it goes, confirming the remittance details. Maybe a link to where they can make the payments. If they make the payments through Revenue Canada, each client might be a little different with that template that we set up for them. Yeah, so we definitely use that. And again, all that is done through, we use, again, 17 Hats to be able to do that, to do the reminding. We use our QBO work for our tasks, our internal task reminders. 17 Hats allows us actually to CC ourselves when an email is sent, so that kind of triggers a reminder to us as well that, oh, yes, we can expect those payroll figures because we've just sent out the email, so we know the client will get back to us in about 24 hours with their payroll figures. So we set that up that I want to be CC'd on every email, just as a reminder, a trigger to myself. And we automate everything. We leave nothing to the client. So again, as I said earlier, yes, we baby them, but in their busy lives, it's added value just to ensure that we've got their backs. So I want to just show that we're going to ask another poll question now. So now that you've heard how much we automate, how much, I guess if you compare to your original answer, how much do you feel that your automation efficiency could be improved upon? So that'll pop up in a few moments, but we've got answers, of course, are you feel you're running at optimum automation efficiency, about 75%, halfway there, or at 25%, or you didn't know what automation efficiency was until today. So let's just see here. So 100% actually feel that no, they're not running at automation efficiency. Okay, well, you can get there. I have faith you can get there. Okay, so the key takeaway from this one is, of course, just use the automation available to help the clients meet their deadlines, which allows you to hit yours. And again, the client will know that you have their back. So your automation of tasks. Automating your tasks will ensure that you stay on top of your workload with minimal use of time and energy. So using the QBO practice management, or now as it's called work, we track all the tasks that we're expecting the client to complete. So we're just going to pop out here before I really get started on this, a poll question as to what type of software do you currently use to automate your own internal tasks. So we've got QBO Work, Asana, 17 Hats, or Dubsado, Arrow, or other, which could include anything else, Carbon, Microsoft Outlook tasks, Insightly, Jetpack, Teamwork, or anything else. Let me take a moment here to collect these responses. Okay, so far, so voting is not closed yet, but so far it's about 70% other, 8% QBO, and 23% Asana. So we here, okay, so it's closed. So yeah, 69% are other, 23% Asana, and 8% QBO Work is what it ended at. So we used to use Asana, but again, keep it simple is our motto. So I want to utilize as little software to do as many tasks as possible. So the new QBO Work is great. We find that is we don't have to worry about anything there that has recurring tasks, which is awesome. It's not perfect. We found definitely some workarounds, but we were able to find enough workarounds to change from Asana over to QBO because we're already in QBO every day. And then this way, again, we can communicate back and forth with the clients because they have that communication button. So when a client logs in, they're going to see that. It tracks the communication. So when they email back or respond back, that's tracked in there. So we like that because it's tracked all in one spot. It makes things simple, and we know that our clients are in there. Again, if we're using a client who doesn't work within QBO, we're not going to use that feature for them, but most of our clients are in QBO to at least do their invoicing. So we use the QBO Work or practice management to keep our own internal tasks organized. It now has recurring tasks, which I've said earlier, which is great. We can assign it to any team member, change to assign team member if needed. So again, as long as you're finding some type of software that you're comfortable with that does this, you make sure you automate all of your internal tasks. Track the tasks that are in progress, to do, to start, completed. Keep all of our deadlines organized. We check it daily. So as soon as we sign in to QBO, that's the first thing we do. We sign in to QBO, we check our tasks, we take care of those tasks before we go into anything else. So that's just our habit that we do here, and it's working really well for us. The client can't be successful if we're not keeping ourselves accountable. So as much as we're automating the client's portion of it, we need to make sure that we're automating ourselves to be able to keep us running at optimum efficiency and keeping ourselves accountable to that client. We also use QBO recurring transactions for those rarely used transactions. Again, like a manual payroll, some of those one-off. So basically to determine if we use a recurring transaction or not, and these would be maybe a non-scheduled recurring transaction, the journal entries. If I can do it quicker by going in, hitting recurring, filling in the blanks, we set up a recurring task for it. That is bottom line. That is the determination. It doesn't matter if we know how to do it. If we can do it quicker, we do it that way. So we definitely have maybe more set up than other people might on their firms. But again, it's not that we don't know how to do it. We know our tasks, our team members know how to do it. Again, we want to run at optimum efficiency. So if it takes twice as long to enter that journal entry, which again, we try not to do journal entries, but if it takes twice as long to do that just because we're entering the information, we're not running at optimal efficiency. So that's why we do that. And again, recurring transactions don't have to be used for the difficult transactions. But again, we don't set it up for something we need to see a receipt for. stickler with that. We need receipts for everything for the accountability and compliance. We will not bend on that. And we automate absolutely everything possible to make sure that it saves us time and allows us to focus on the client and being a trusted advisor, gain the loyalty, and not just a data entry client. So as you can see, like that from everything that I've discussed, in order to keep our clients successful, that's a very important fact, and it'll trickle down and give us the success as well. And so the key takeaway from here is the client can't be successful if we don't acknowledge when they have or haven't submitted what they need as well. So that's why we need to set those tasks up to follow up with that as well. So I just want to take a quick look through the questions as well too to see if there's been any questions so far on this one, because I think I saw some come in. Sorry about this. It's, again, the question area is so small. Just taking a quick look. So again, some people are improving, working on the process to improve. Keeping up with the bookkeeping business from home, need all the help you can get. Absolutely. Again, the help is out there. It's with the app. Find something you're comfortable for. You know, I'm not here to sell you on any of the apps, so just definitely make sure that you work with something that you're comfortable with, because what I'm comfortable with and what works well for me might not work well for the other person or for the next person. So that's just definitely something to keep in mind. So at this point, we will open up the floor for questions, your opportunity to ask away and to learn. So go ahead and feel free to type in the questions. I don't think I've missed any. If I have, again, the question area is just really, really small and hard to read. So if I have missed it, please feel free to type it in again or type it into the chat area because I'll be able to see that. So can you please provide your website address? You're just starting up bookkeeping business from home and need all the help you can get. Absolutely. It's www.cloudbookkeepingservices.ca. So you can go in and see how I've got the client access area all set up. So and feel free to take whatever inspiration you can get from the website. Absolutely. Certainly happy to help with that. And we've got another question here. Not necessarily workflow, but mentioned website. Who hosts and what do I use? We actually just set it up through Wix. I don't use somebody else to hire the website because I like to go in and tinker. If we go in and we tinker away at the website, again, that definitely helps your SEO ratings. And if it's different, it'll catch your clients' attentions a little more. They don't like to see the same information on there, and it'll keep them coming back, which, again, will keep them happy, help set them up for success, which, again, trickles down to yourself. So we were looking around, and I did have a few people actually say, stay away from Wix, stay away from Wix. You know what? It was easy for me to set up, a really short learning curve, and that's what I needed because we made a lot of changes all at once, and I needed a really small, short learning curve for this. So we did that. There's several out there. WordPress, a lot of people love WordPress and can understand it. My mind just can't handle it. I don't think that way, and I don't have the time to learn WordPress at this point, which is why I chose to go with something simple like that, and so that I can go in and just change things around all the time. And as I say, Wix definitely met my needs. There was a learning curve to learn how to actually get the SEO up and running and working properly because it wasn't optimized initially for the SEO. So that did take a little bit of a learning curve to go in there and actually learn what we needed to do because it wasn't necessarily as friendly as it should be, whereas you can definitely do a lot more with WordPress with a lower learning curve on that end of things. But just basically any website, again, something that you're comfortable with that you can go in and learn, or if you're comfortable enough having somebody maybe design the whole thing and just teach you how to go in and do a little bit of work, or if you're comfortable sending it all out. Just by keep clients coming back, get those SEO ratings up. Definitely is my suggestions to that. So Wix, yes. Please tell us what software you use to set up your client survey. Again, 17 Hats. 17 Hats is 90% of our automation. Our surveys, our contracts, our quotes, our email reminders, a lot of our internal workflows, so not necessarily the task, but our onboarding workflow, we have like a checklist. So I would use 17 Hats for my checklist. And then I would use the QBO work the way that I used to use Microsoft Office tasks in there. So just as a task reminder, but not as a checklist. So we use 17 Hats again, checklist, quotes, contracts, the emails, the templates, our lead capture forms on our website. Like it does so much. And again, plenty of software that does that as well too. Can you list all the resources you mentioned? 17 Hats, Wix, what else did I mention? HubDoc, there's also Receipt Bank as well. Again, we like to keep it simple, but I know some people love HubDoc, or sorry, love Receipt Bank as much as HubDoc. What else did I mention earlier on? I think Invoice Sherpa for AR pain points, Wortessa for cash flow, Pluto, that's another big one that we use for clients. We don't deal with a lot of inventory, so I'm not up to date on the inventory apps. We just use QBO for the inventory. Again, Wix for the website. Yeah, I think that's kind of about it. Using Weebly. Again, Weebly, just as good as Wix. When I looked into it, I can't remember why I decided. I think I like the templates in Wix better than what they had in Weebly, but it's the same type of thing. You can set it up yourself. Just get in there, learn how to turn on that SEO increasing, and keep the clients coming back to your website. So where can you get ideas for making a questionnaire for clients? I am happy to send out copies of the questionnaires if I'm allowed to do that. If anybody just wants to shoot me off a quick email, the email address was put up in chat, so I'm certainly happy to share that and to share the questions that I have. Absolutely, and go back here, try to take another look here. Okay, and my email address again, it was just popped up there. Thank you, Mike. Can't see the email address. Okay, so it's in the chat box, but it's Tanya, Tanya, at cloudbookkeepingservices.ca. And then just let me know that you were at the webinar today, and then I'll just shoot you out the automatic process from that. And again, happy to provide you the resources so that you can start to get your client set up for success and yourself as well. All right. Any other questions? Just give a few minutes here. See, there's some other questions. So subscription to 17 Hats. Would you use a Dubsado? Oh, sorry, if you didn't have the 10-year subscriptions to 17 Hats, would you use Dubsado? We've been looking into Dubsado for some other bookkeepers that we network with and do business with. So we've been looking into that to kind of help them with Dubsado. It's a toss-up. If we didn't have the 10-year subscription, it's really a toss-up. 17 Hats does some things better. Dubsado does some things better. At this point, I would say they're probably 50-50. However, Dubsado does seem to be moving a little quicker. They've just recently launched that they have a QBO. This is within the last few weeks. They have a Canadian QBO integration, which is great. So they do seem to be moving a little faster. can't say that we would switch because we've got so much set up in 17 Hats. It took us literally hundreds of hours to set up our process. So we probably wouldn't change, but if we were looking back at the beginning of our process, it's a toss-up. It's definitely a toss-up. I would just recommend take a look, see what you're more comfortable with the looks and the design of it, and make your decisions from there, basically, because, like I say, they come in to be about equal unless you want that QBO integration. I really wish we had that QBO integration 17 had, so that definitely, I'd say, would put Dubsado in a little bit of a lead. So we've got a few other comments. Thank you so much. This was a great webinar. Well, thank you. Let's see here. What's the name of the 17 Hats alternative? Can I type it out? I'll actually spell it out as well here. Maybe Mike can type it out as I'm spelling. It's Dubsado, D-U-B-S-A-D-O. There we go. Mike just put it in the chat box, so that's great. Kim, Kim's asking, how's the new office? It's great, Kim. Thank you. We'll have to chat more about that personally on that. Come down for a visit next time you're in this area too. So Karen has said you've been extremely helpful. Thank you. Well, thank you, Karen. I'm definitely glad to have been helpful with that. Okay, any other questions at all? Come on, guys, you've got me. Ask away. All right, Kim says thank you. You're welcome, Kim. All right, well, I guess if that's all of the questions, nobody's got anything else. We'll just say thank you. And the next webinar, which will be Thursday, October 26th at 1 p.m., there is the link there, so we'll leave this up for a few minutes if you want to take a look, but it's using review sites to grow your base. So I know Steve Lotes, I think, is the one who's doing that, so definitely it should be a great presentation. Kim says great presentation. Thank you, Kim. So we'll just leave this up for a few minutes and see if there's any last minute questions coming in. Okay, so the link to signing up for that webinar is actually, if you look in your chat section, Mike has put it in there so that you can copy and paste it out yourself, so that you can go in and make sure to sign up for that. So definitely grab that. I know I'll be signing up for it. Anything that Steve has to offer is great. Okay, we've got Marty. Hi, Marty. Thanks, Tanya. You're always very generous with your resources and materials. So thank you, Marty. I actually would not be where I am today if it weren't for the help of other bookkeepers, so I'm very happy to pay it forward. And hopefully all you, once you get to the point that I know you will, that you can also pay it forward as well, too. Okay. So I guess that's it then. There doesn't seem to be anything else coming in. Hopefully everybody's grabbed the link, which is, again, using review sites to grow your base. And that's perfect. So I guess if there's no other questions, I'll just hang around for a little while just in case there are any other questions. Deb says thanks. Thank you. Great webinar from Rebecca. Thank you. So yeah, we'll just hang around. If there's any questions that maybe you didn't, want to type with as many people, feel free to type it and ask away. But for any of you who are ready to leave now, thank you very much for attending. Kim, when is your next class starting? We'll talk about that. Give me a call this afternoon, Kim. We can talk about that directly. And Mike says, yes, we can end now. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much, everybody. Again, feel free to reach out if you want those questionnaires. Happy to share. And we will talk to you later. Have a great week. And, yeah, set those clients up for success. And you'll be automatically set up for success as well. All right. Thanks, all. We'll see you all later. Bye.